Time for some more SF2000 torture. This time we're testing Multicore Alpha version 0.10. So let's see if this is improved over 0.9, which I reviewed back in November, I think it was. So here we are, we're looking at my custom ROM folder. There's a lot of nonsense in here, but I'm just going to look for the usual game that I test. As you can see, I've renamed it. So this is Super Mario World 2. And one thing I have noticed is the flickering is now gone. I also mucked about in some of the config files, so you can see at the top right here I've turned on the FPS counter. So this kind of validates some of the stuff I've been saying for a while, in that it really doesn't run at full speed. Now, what you will notice is the screen refresh issue. Now there is still a little bit of horizontal banding there, or diagonal banding, but here's a good point in the start here. We're getting 14 FPS. 14 FPS. So people thought it was just audio stutter, but actually it's not just audio stutter. If you go into the config file for the SNES emulator, frame skip set to auto, and it's set to something like the max, which is 33. That's just default. So there's a huge amount of frame skip going on, which is why you get that weird audio clipping. And the game still plays, but it does really slow down at times. Now, anything over 30, I suppose we can call it usable, although it's not full speed. Full speed would be running at 50 hertz at least, so 50 FPS is what we'd expect. So as you can see here, it's rolling along about 30. When you get the pop-up messages though, those seem to be fixed. So it does look like the panel is now displaying at the correct refresh. You'll see here just now. Look, no flickering. So actually that's really positive. So I'm really impressed with the people behind the Multicore Alpha. They're obviously really trying hard to get this thing working as good as they can. I noticed when I was looking at some of the config files that they've tweaked the megahertz of the processor. I think it's running at the higher speed of 444 megahertz. I didn't change any of those settings. The only setting I changed was to turn on the FPS counter, because I thought I'll give this a out-of-box experience once you've worked out how to get the Multicore Alpha on and put your own ROMs on. And it's okay, but as you can see here, it's dipping below 20 FPS. Now, the minute you go to someplace a bit, like a menu, it's going to go straight up to 60 FPS, but when you're actually in-game. Now, I have had some people asking why I'm always testing the same game. Well, it's a hard game to emulate, that's why I'm testing it. This is worst case scenario. There'll be other SNES games that run pretty well, but this is a good example of one that didn't run well, and it showed the horrible diagonal banding that you were getting. That's now removed, so that's brilliant to see that. There is still the audio slowdown, which you'll hear in the game, but as you can see, it's running at 15 FPS, so that's why sometimes this game feels a little bit tricky to control Yoshi. But I have to say, I'm relatively impressed. I mean, I know I've been quite negative about this product over the last 4 or 5 months, but there does appear to be some pretty good progress, thanks to the modding community. No thanks to Datafrog. They've done nothing in the last few months. But yeah, it's definitely looking better. Look, there's none of that horizontal band in there, so that's quite good going. Now, I'm just going to play through this whole level, because that's what I've done in previous videos, and I've got a bit less to say today, so some of the time I might just let you watch the video so you can hear the audio slow down yourself. Now, there is a bit coming up in just a second, so I'll just go quiet then, and I'll let you watch through, and you can see what I'm talking about. The audio slows down a little bit, quite a bit in fact. The video still looks like it's playing okay, but as you'll see with the FPS counter, it's dropping down to, the low teens. Now this point here, what you're going to notice is I'm struggling to jump up this beanstalk, because there's a little bit of input delay as well, probably because it's down at 14 FPS. It's difficult to jump up and down unless you get yourself perfectly positioned. Now, did you notice that dropped down to 11 FPS? And at 11 FPS, it was unable to keep playing the audio at normal speed. It started to really seriously slow down. So, I don't know if there's anyone out there that's still claiming this runs at full speed, in inverted commas. If you've got some different settings, feel free to share those settings with me and I will test that as well. I'm looking to get the most out of this little handheld. Much like everyone else. I don't think it's a great purchase, but obviously I don't want it just to be a bit of e-waste. I want to get some use out of it. And yeah, if you've got some suggestions that you've tested, perhaps maybe tweaked the processor speed in the conf file, then let me know and I'll do those tests as well. And I'll report back to the wider community. Now, you probably noticed it's dropped down to 11 FPS again. The audio is slowing down. Anyway, that's we got to the end of the level. Thanks for watching. Some decent updates for the Sf2000, so maybe try this version of the custom firmware yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.